Sammy Davis's song, I Gotta Be Me, daring to try, to do it or die. That's a good one. No matter what he was going through or what was going on, he'd say, I'll be fine, everything is shipshape. He thought he'd be fine playing football in the Navy after he injured his knee playing basketball in high school. So, he played until he injured it again and had to have surgery. When it got hard to walk after years of arthritis from those injuries, he would say, I'm fine, just quit worrying about me. Maybe then his song should have been To Dream the Impossible Dream. When we told him Aunt Reba was worrying about him, he said, I don't know why she's always worrying about me. I've traveled all over the world and all over the U.S. and I haven't had any problems. Maybe we worried because he took a trip from North Carolina to Maryland one time and knocked a mirror off of a truck in a construction zone. Seconds after, the construction worker that he almost ran over had to jump out of the way. Then Uncle Ray had to drive an hour to find him and guide him back to their house because he missed the last ferry. Why would we worry? Maybe we would worry because of incidents like the time he had to put out a missing persons report on him because he decided to move to California and in the middle of the night he took off. Then Peggy had to call Roy first thing in the morning to ask him to drive to the Quad Cities to pick Cap up at the police station and deliver him back to Rockford. Roy showed us why Cap liked his family in Keokuk so much. Heather then had to drive Roy back to Keokuk and she confiscated his car. For weeks he would say, where's that girl with my car? Boy, he wanted to travel. We joked about those trips and he laughed along with us. He never lost his sense of humor. He just never thought it was a reason to worry. His song should have been Ricky Nelson's Traveling Man. When we were little, we traveled across the country every year or so, and we always ended up in Keokuk. He always wanted to go home to Keokuk to see his family. He often talked about his cousins. He loved Keokuk and his family. The song I Want to Go Home seems to fit. Becky took him out to dinner often in the past year. She doesn't look the way he remembers her, so he could never get her name straight. But he knew that he had some nieces running around here somewhere. He never forgot his family. He was proud to say, I have kids, even though he didn't always get our name straight. At the end, he always knew us. He only knew us by sight, but he knew that we were his. So now, here he is, back home in Keokuk, and we are here to say, thanks for the memories. He lived a good long life, and he enjoyed it. He lived life full steam ahead. He made a lot of friends, he danced a lot, he laughed a lot, he played a lot, and he traveled a lot. And he loved his friends and his family. We are not going to say goodbye. Instead, it's Anchors Away, Dad. Never again will I do you a favor.
I don't know him, didn't know him nearly as well as most of you, but I love to hear his nuggets of wisdom, like he's full of them. And then if someone would come up and say something to me out he would say, does that float your boat? That's okay if it does. It'll be all right. I'll get along. And of course, you never ask without help, because he's never going to give you an honest answer. That's what everybody else has to do, not like that. Everybody.
I said, no. He said, well, why do you do it? I said, because you're my uncle. And then he looked at me and go, does your husband know you're here? And I was like, yes, he knows I'm here. But since you said the story about the car, he said to me repeatedly, some darn girl took my car and I'm going to get it back. And now I know what he was talking about. I was like, what are you talking about? So that
that was 12 years ago.
he remembers it though.
Well, just to show how anxious he was to get into the Navy. 16 years old, he was going to a Catholic school, and he decided he was going to run away from home and go to Chicago and join the Navy.
You didn't have to if you laugh at his jokes.
That's all.
Same one.
I remember my grandpa real well because the tennis was a church. And a little note stating I was glad to hear from him. And Mom said I should sign it, your grandson, so he knew who was talking about. So I did that, and then I sent it to him, and he liked that. And that's the last thing I remember about him. He was good. He was a good guy.
Well, I really appreciate everybody coming today. I really do. I'm really happy for my mom.
Wouldn't have missed it.
So, Roy, you don't have any stories about your trip from the Quad Cities?
I've got a few, but I think I'll keep them to myself.
I think that was a family-wide response. Everybody that counted almost was involved in that in one way or another.
Tag team.
Well, I was shocked to get the phone call, to be real honest with you. And when I found out it was Destin and he needed help, why, I couldn't pass that up.
That was good because you would have been in jail all night.
Yeah. Or longer, depending on how long it would take to get a flight and get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be happy for all of that.
Definitely.
He would be. He didn't want everybody. Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
read something that I think, again, I apologize because wasn't that close to Esther in a lot of ways. Over the years, I have thought of this anonymous poem as being characteristic of some fine people I've known. And I think Eston would be saying, hey, wait a minute, this is fine, but move on with your lives. I really feel he'd say that. And I think this poem says that, so if you don't mind. When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long, and not with your heart bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey that we all must take, and each must go alone. It's all part of the Master's plan, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick of heart, Go to the friends we know and bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go. That's the spirit that I thought I saw in this.
Amen.
So, we all go to Ogo's?